Hey guys, so I guess this is it. This is like, the real first video that I'm gonna be making. It's a bunch of achievements. Not only is this unscripted, but it's also, not just another news video. I'm actually glad to be able to say that. News videos are fun and all, but I don't really like them. They get boring to make after a little while. But yeah, so I guess, now that I think about it, I never actually introduced myself. So hi. I'm Noah. I like Roblox. It's pretty fun. What's weird is that I haven't actually played anything on Roblox in months, and yet here I am making YouTube for it. There are a few games I like. Like 3 maybe. Westbound's pretty fun. One of the Western games. I thought about making videos for it a while ago, but I decided that it wasn't worth it. Another one's Lumion Legacy. You guys know Pokemon Break Bronze? Imagine that, but it's different. So they won't, get their game deleted again. And then I would say my favorite game is, probably Wizard Life. Considering I have 213,000 galleons. You could do the math for that. And so, I guess this video is kind of just to talk about what I want to do with this channel. Because, I'm kind of tired of making new stuff, and I actually want to get started with what I've said I wanted to get started with. But, I've had reserves trying to make this for a while, and that's mainly because the videos I'm about to start making aren't necessarily for anyone but myself. It's more so, personal project that I want to do. But this video isn't for anybody except you guys. This isn't for me. This is for anybody who's interested in what I'm about to do. But that's why I've kind of not wanted to do it, because I don't really even know if anybody cares about what I'm going to start doing. Well, we'll see, I guess. Alright, so basically, I have had something in the back of my mind for a while that I wanted to do for this channel. A specific series. I titled it the interview series. I think I've talked about it just a little bit on this channel. And I've also talked about a video I've called The Complete History of Wizard Life. So not too long ago, I wanted to do videos for dueling. If you don't know what dueling is, basically, you get 2 guys. Both of those guys have Avada Kedavra. Someone shouts go, and the first person to kill the other person with Avada Kedavra wins. That's it. And for a long time, I had a big passion for dueling. Dueling was super fun. It was the only thing I ever wanted to do in this game, And I loved it. I loved doing it with, basically everybody I could. And basically, I wanted to do videos for it. I thought it could be super fun. But there were a couple things kind of making me hesitant, and I would say the biggest one was exploiting, exploiting the game. People, hacking, I guess. Hacking isn't the right word. I have no idea what the right word is, but people say exploiting. And it basically is just cheating for dueling. That's literally it. And so, I didn't want to make videos for dueling because of that, and because that was the only thing I could come up with for videos, I just didn't upload anything for a really long time. And even though I continued to duel for a while, throughout, 8 or so months ago maybe, I enjoyed dueling a ton, but then I slowly just began to drift away from it. I didn't like it as much. I didn't want, to make content over it. I didn't really care about making content over it. But there was one thing that stayed in the back of my mind, and it was this interview series I had. This idea for an interview series. Because even though I hated dueling, and I hated groups, and I hated a lot of stuff that, this game had, the past seemed really interesting. Because in the current state of the game, or not current, I don't actually know if there are wars anymore, but maybe 8 or so months ago, when, I was most active-ish, wars were basically, you get a bunch of, you get 2 sides together, random amounts of people on each side. Everybody has Avada Kedavra, and you shoot each other over and over and over again. And it doesn't sound that bad, but there are 2 things that make it bad. Number 1, there's not an end goal. When you go to war in this game, when 2 groups get mad at each other for whatever reason, there's no actual goal. You literally, for maybe 2 hours straight, just sit there and shoot Avada at each other. And that's it. That's literally all you do. And so I wasn't very interested with it. I didn't, want to do fights or wars or anything like that. But the other reason was the toxicity. And one of the main reasons I've been hesitant to make any content for this game. This game, fighting and wars and stuff, it brings out the worst in people. I don't think I've seen a more toxic game, or like event ever in a game, because people just throw slurs at each other while they kill each other. You just shout GG easy for 2 hours straight, and then here's what happens. At the very end of the fight, one of the sides will say, alright, this is boring, and leave. And the side that's still there just goes, oh, we won, let's go! And so they celebrate and stuff, and they claim victory. But then the other side who left was like, what? No, we killed you like way more than you killed us. We just got bored. And so what ends up happening is that, it's just a, oh wait, we won. No, we won. No, we won. No, we won. Back and forth. And because of that, I was never really interested in groups. I really wanted to get into groups. I wanted to do a bunch of dueling stuff, war stuff, but it was never organized, and ultimately, I just didn't want to get into it. There was too much toxicity, just all of that, and I just didn't want to interact with that side of the community. But, as I started making these videos and started hinting at, doing an interview series for over the past, I got, more information about the past, and it just made me want to do this interview series even more, Apparently there used to be organized war, where, 2 groups would send 10 of their best players up against each other. Each person gets 1 life, and the last side standing wins. It sounded super fun, because I've always been into dueling. I've wanted to do group stuff, but I couldn't. And because, game's not necessarily dead, I don't actually know what the state of the game is right now, but I do know that I probably wouldn't be able to do any group wars or stuff like that. But I'm really interested to learn about how it used to work, what happened back then. And so basically, I started formulating a plan, for an interview series. Basically, I would interview a bunch of players from the past of this game. And slowly, over the course of a bunch of interviews and a bunch of different videos I make, I end on one video that I am calling The Complete History of Wizard Life. And it has everything. It has every group, every war, like just every interaction, as much as possible at least, that we can get, Have a ton of people in it. It would be, if I were to build a community around this channel and around this series, be a big community event that a bunch of people contribute to. And it sounds awesome in my head. But reaching that is what's going to be the hardest, because it's obvious that my upload schedule kind of sucks, and I have no idea if I'm actually going to go through with this, but I really wanted to do it. I'm like, wow, this could be amazing. This could be so cool. And so I sat down, and so I came up with a pretty decent plan for it. And it all started with probably what is going to be the next video, my interview with Spade. Some of you might know who Spade is if you're in like the, dueling side of the community, but basically, he's pretty cool. I don't think he's active at all anymore, but I don't know when I did it. I'll put it up on screen, but I don't know when I recorded the interview. I think it was over 2 to 3 months ago. I recorded my interview with Spade, and I haven't gotten to it. I wanted to make that, a mock interview. I didn't really take it seriously. Spade didn't take it seriously, but I wanted it to be, editing practice, get used to how I wanted to edit these interviews. So I'd start with Spade, and then I'd go to a bunch of other people from the community. I'm not going to name any names because you probably wouldn't recognize any names, but that's what I wanted to do. And so after all of those interviews, I do maybe like for a wide range, like 6 to 10 interviews. And each interview, I would make 2 videos out of. Number 1 would be the well-edited, very short, maybe like 3 to 4 minute video where I just take their best answers and, edit it into one video. Make it kind of short so people are willing to watch it, and that's it. But for anybody actually interested in all of it, I would also upload the full interview with as many questions as possible. So one of them would be more better edited, shorter. One of them would be much longer, like basically the full interview and not as well edited. Just for anybody who cares about, keeping tabs on all of that. And I do this maybe, 6 to 10 times. And then this is probably the trickiest part. The one part that would make this entire series fall is one interview with one guy. And his name is Dark. So if you've played this game, maybe you know who Dark is, maybe you don't. But basically, Dark is widely considered to be the greatest duelist in Wizard Life. That's, the title. Now, there's a lot of controversy around calling him that. I understand that because, a bunch of people have accused him of, exploiting and whatnot. But he is basically the biggest puzzle piece to this whole thing. Seriously. And so, if I were to get an interview with him, it would help a ton, because he's been around, not for the longest I don't think, but he's been around for a very long time. I think he might have been here in beta, I'm not entirely sure, but he's been here for a while. And so if I could get an interview with him, it would really help. It would be awesome. There are technically maybe like 4 things I would need from him. Number 1 would just be an interview. At the minimum, I would ask him for an interview, and that's it. That is like all I would want from him. The 3 other things are, a little harder, and he would actually have to be invested in this as well, but I'm not sure if he is. The 3 other things I would want would be a list of people I should get into contact with to interview. I have a bunch of names right now, but I think it would help if I had, a bigger list to go off of. The 3rd thing I would want from him is getting, helping me get into contact with these people. And the final thing, probably the thing that would be most time consuming and the least likely thing to happen, I would literally just ask him, type out everything you can remember from the beginning to right now. Like literally all of it. Just as much as he's willing to tell, as much as he, can tell. All of it. Because the goal is to start at some point getting all of these people's accounts of what they remember from the game and start piecing it together. And because of how much Dark has seen, he would be a huge help to this. Now, if he doesn't want to help, it would make things 10 times more complicated. I think I could still do it, but it would just be a lot harder. And so, if he could just, if he would be willing to do that, it would be so much easier. The entire process would be 100 times easier. Because I don't want this to just be about the Dark family. I would also want all of the opposing sides. I would have to get into contact with like 100 people just to get everybody's recounting of this whole thing. And so, if I were to get an interview with Dark, there are 2 things that can happen. Number 1, I do get an interview, and number 2, I don't get an interview. If I don't get an interview, I think I could still do this, but it would have to be just with different people. I think there might be some people from Dark family who'd be willing to help me, maybe, but if you did an interview minimum, then I could move on, and I wouldn't have to worry about, what else I'd have to do. And so, after that, I would just interview more people, just keep going with it, and maybe after another 5 or so interviews, I don't know idea, because I don't really want this just to be interviews. At some point, I want to start something else. There are 3 types of videos on top of the interviews that I'd want to start making. Number 1, complete history of group videos, talking about, who the group was, who owned it, who was in it, what they did, all that jazz, how they fell, everything. And just covering, different groups, and that's it. Number 2 would be different wars. Why did the war start? Who are the 2 sides? Why did it keep going? How did it end? All that stuff. Do that as well. Talk about, the biggest wars. And then another thing is duels. Now, I don't really know if I would ever do one-off videos covering duels, because, there's not that much to talk about, but what I think could be pretty cool is if I did double interviews with people who were in big duels, because Kuno, a very long time ago in one of my other videos, I think it was 2Shot, he replied, saying, accusing me of mocking actual real duels, and, obviously that wasn't my goal with the video, I just wanted to have fun editing, and so I asked him, what duels have there been, and so he basically told me a bunch of different duels, and one of them was he and Fate, another person in the community, did a duel to end a war between Mystic Order and TDF. I don't expect you to know what either of, those groups are, but it's fine. And basically, I just thought, wow, it'd be super cool to have, like, a double interview with Kuno and Fate. Now, I think Kuno might be on board, but I don't know about Fate. Fate, I don't know, I think he still plays Roblox, but he's done with Wizard Life, and I think he kind of doesn't like the game. But I think it could be super cool to do a double interview. And so I just have a bunch of these different videos, slowly getting more information for this final video. And then, to build up hype for the video, I would, sure I could make a trailer too. I think it'd be pretty sweet, whatever. But it would be amazing after, building up, all this stuff, to have an interview with either Eddie or Rylock or both. That would be freaking awesome. That would be amazing. Now, I know they're busy, and they probably wouldn't be willing, but if I got that far, it would be pretty cool to interview one of them, or both, either one. And so, after that, I have a couple other video ideas that I will spread throughout that entire time frame, but that's the basis of what I want to do for this channel. And after all of that, I start working on editing the video, putting it all together, and because of how many ideas I have, it would be cool to get together with like a group of people to discuss all of it. But again, it all depends on how big the channel grows in this time. If the channel doesn't grow at all, then it won't be how I want it to be. It'll probably just be me talking for an hour straight, which I don't really want. I want way more than that. So I'm hoping that after all these interviews and stuff I do, the community is, you know, decently sized. Not necessarily subscriber count, I don't care. Just people willing to help make the video. And so the video gets out. It's sweet, you know, it's awesome, whatever. It doesn't matter if it flops to me. That is the current main goal of the channel, of, you know, working on this interview series, is compiling everything, and that's it. Now, to some people, it probably doesn't sound super interesting, which I can understand, because I actually have no idea what the history's like. The history might be super freaking boring. I don't think it will be, though. I really don't think it will be. I think this could honestly be super fun to do. So now, I originally had a bunch of reserves for making the interview series, but I don't think I'm going to voice any of those concerns now, because I kind of want to just go for it. That's the truth. I just want to go for it. I'm hoping there's at least like one dude who is interested in the history, so it's just one more person I'm, making it for. But I think this could be awesome. I have a bunch of videos planned even after that, but depending on how consistently I upload and how good I can do this is probably over the course of like a year. And it depends on, obviously, how dedicated I am to it and all that jazz, and how willing I am to edit. I think editing is probably one of the hardest parts about this, is literally just sitting down and editing, because it takes way too long. But yeah, so that's it. That's the current plans for the channel, is do a bunch of interviews, interview Dark maybe. That would be like the turning point for the channel. After that, introduce a bunch of other types of videos in. Sprinkled throughout, I will do one-off videos. Like, one video idea I had is, what is Wizard Life and why do people still play it, for people who don't know what Wizard Life is. I might do some dueling videos, I have no idea yet, but I think it could be super fun. So hopefully, there's at least, like one person willing to watch all this stuff. I think that'd be pretty sweet. And yeah, so I guess that's it. I don't know when the interview video is going to be out. I want it to get it out very quick. If I could get it out this weekend, that'd be sweet. Not sure, but we'll see. All right, I guess that's it, really. Thanks for watching. That's it. I mean, you can leave now. I mean, that's all there is. I don't got anything else to say. I'm kind of just sitting here now. Bye.